Hello there, it's Bronze of Modern Gods. I'm John,
I'm Richard.
and we're tired. Hi, everybody. It's 2 days late. We're here. Just so you know what the schedule's going to be like this week. This is your Monday episode. Just look into my eyes. This is your Monday episode. We are not late. Honest. We're going to have a bonus episode for our members tomorrow. No live episode this week because we are catching up on our sleep, sort of. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Feeling good enough to go on a vacation with the fam.
Oh man, you are. I'm not going to bore everybody with my adventures of getting to Neo Comic Con in Cleveland. Let's just say we didn't get there the first night. Thank you, American Airlines, he said, not sarcastically whatsoever. But we're here. We're with you. We're back to normal ish. We've got underrated books of the week. We've got the 25-year rule as we go back to 1999. We've got viewer mail. And of course, the hot book of the week. Richard, I'm going to take this one, okay?
You do it.
This is a book that's near and dear to young John's heart in early 1980, 1979, I think this is. It is Marvel 2-in-1, number 64. This is featuring The Thing and one of Marvel's biggest A-listers, heavy hitter, Stingray.
Yeah, right there with the wrecking crew. They're heavy hitters.
I'm telling you, why is this hot? You may be asking. Not because it's by George Perez, even though that's a great reason. This is hot after the casting announcement of Giancarlo Esposito to be playing Sidewinder, leader of the Serpent Society in Captain America: Brave New World. Now, as a big Mark Gruenwald fan, you know this makes me happy. That Mark wrote this book. Mark created the Serpent Society, Sidewinder, big players for years in Captain America when Mark Gruenwald's legendary run. Why is this book hot? I mean, I know, I get it. It's casting news, but is there a reason for high grade raws of this to be selling up to $75 on eBay, Richard?
I don't think so. This is FOMO. This is people trying to take advantage of the current news. If you get a copy of it, sell it because long term, I just don't see it holding value.
Let's talk about what's cool about this book, though. The story is a classic, the Serpent Crown Affair. It is a classic, ends up involving, I think, Triton and Scarlet Witch. And it's just, this is prime Marvel 2-in-1, which was always a dog of a book in the 70s. It was always like an afterthought.
Yeah.
And then right around issue 50 with that classic John Byrne issue, they started taking this book seriously as Ralph Macchio and Mark Gruenwald doing the Project Pegasus story with Quasar, take a shot. And then the Serpent Crown Affair. And then there was a whole arc with Warlock coming back to life, air quotes, just classic run from this era. It was one of my favorite books when I was a kid, right behind Captain America and Invaders. I was like, Marvel 2-in-1's a great book now. But Richard, Stingray's costume.
It is quite the costume. Oh man, I don't know. It's an okay costume. It reminds me of the Guardian costume from
Alpha Flight?
Alpha Flight. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
The red and the white. Although the cape kind of throws it.
No, it's a Stingray. Flippity floppity in the ocean.
Oh, okay. I get that.
Stingray. Come on.
Or Sunfire, or there are a number of characters that have that same kind of color scheme.
I thought you had the Submariner issue with Stingray on the cover. I think you showed that one time, I think on Show and Tell.
Okay, I might.
About that a bit. Okay, let's get to it. Long-term prospects for this book? No. Come on. Let's not be foolish here.
No, but it's an opportunity to read a good book. I mean, if you come across it,
for $70.
No, well, I wouldn't pay $70 for it, but if you come across it, John gives you a thumbs up for reading it.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think it's reprinted in trade paperback, except for maybe the essentials. Or is there a Marvel 2-in-1 omnibus? If not, there should be. That's a good one. I know they're Masterworks.
Yeah, I never was into Marvel 2-in-1.
I wasn't either until this, this creative team with George Perez and John Byrne taking turns on arcs. With Ralph Macchio and Mark Gruenwald. It was really, really good. I didn't see anybody selling this book this weekend at Neo Comic Con. Oh, segue. Let's talk about Neo Comic Con this weekend. Richard, take it away. What do you think?
Oh, we had a lot of fun. It was a good show. We saw a lot of people recognize us, which was very flattering. And we tried to interact with as many people as we could. But we had people come up and we got some gifts. I have some books to show that were gifted to us, and just a general sense that people appreciate what we do. And that is, it's hard to say thank you enough for the people who did come up to us and say hi. Um, we had the regular people who come to those kinds of conventions in terms of the dealers. We didn't get around a whole lot though to the different dealers. We did talk to people like Kmart Comics. We talked to some of the other vendors like Comics Are Go's Eric. But did you actually get to go around a whole lot at the show?
No, we were kind of trapped at our booth, and I say that in the nicest way. It was great to not be able to leave. And I say that because of all the people coming up and wanting to say hi and take a selfie and ask questions and have a discussion, which was why we were there. We saw Dino from Tales from the Flip Side, Mercer Not, other YouTubers were there. It was great. It was crowded. It wasn't overwhelmingly so crowded. I think there were more than 100 vendors there. Would you not say?
Yeah, there was a tremendous number of vendors, and that's one of the things about this show. There's a lot of people there, a lot of vendors there, so you can find what you're looking for, or at least be able to do some price comparison between the different vendors.
A lot of course, I would say 90% of those were exclusively comic book dealers.
Mhm.
Um, and would you say the hot books for this convention, Doctor Doom, ruled the roost?
Yes, infamous Iron Man #1. That book was very hot. Also, just Doom in general. People were finally recognizing the power of Doom. So we sold a number of Doom books that I had stockpiled over the past few years, and I saw different booths. People had them highlighted in on the wall. So it's a good time to be a Doom fan.
We found a little hack. If sales are slow, all you have to do is start doing a live sale on Instagram from your booth with a camera and a gimbal, and all of a sudden people come over and they want to see what's going on, and the curiosity gets the best of them, and they start buying stuff. So you're like, they're competing with the live sale people. Wait, I wanted that infamous Iron Man. Well, it's been here all day, guys. Why didn't you buy it before we started streaming? Uh, really, I mean, too many people we saw to even name. But I'll try. Kevin K. Mort, I'm wearing your shirt. Thank you very much for the gift. Um, Mr. Berger, was it Dan Berger, the guy who drew Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Famous artist, came up to our booth and wanted to meet us. And that was kind of weird. You're more important than we are, Mr. Berger, just so you know. Thank you for your lovely book about the Who, which he gave me, which I don't have handy here to show off, unfortunately. And oh gosh, who else did we meet? I know Brad tried to find us, and we were busy each time he came up. But who do you remember? Do you remember anybody else I'm forgetting?
Oh, I should have written it down. We really
No.
should have written it down because there were a number of people that just wanted to let us know how much they enjoyed the show, and that's this heartwarming because we don't do any airs, we don't do any big production. We just sit here and share our love for comics, and we're happy to see that love reflected in other people and their joy about the collecting hobby.
It's kind of easy to forget that this goes out after we record it and people watch it. So it's like, oh, people watch this thing.
No,
Uh,
that's
yeah.
one guy was talking about how it's his Monday commute. He
Well,
listens to the
we screwed him this week.
show. Yeah, that's true. Sorry.
Monday was unbearable without us. Now it's your what is it? Wednesday commute. That's right. All right. Well, let's get to some show and tell, and let me make some little magic fingers and do this. I didn't buy anything at this convention, Richard. I
I
don't know if it's good or bad.
I didn't buy anything either. That's two conventions in a row that I've
You,
spent less than $100 at. Less than
you
fifty
bought
dollars.
you bought stuff at San Diego though.
I bought $25 worth of books.
Yeah, that counts. You'd buy anything at this one. We were trapped at our booth, and that's not a complaint. It's just the best.
And the goal was to sell. We had brought books to get to sell, and so that took priority.
Well, I have a theme. You know me, theme, theme, theme. Okay, it's going to be some good news, bad news for you, Richard.
Uh
Good news, it's Bronze Age Conan the Barbarian covers. Bad news, it's all Gil Kane, your favorite artist.
oh. Oh, goody.
Let's start off with Conan the Barbarian number 63. This is barely a Gil Kane cover. And I say that because it's obvious he did like a really preliminary sketch. And then Vinnie Coletta, took a big massive steamer all over it like he does. And then John Romita redrew the faces.
Oh, he
So,
did.
yeah, look, it's like, what's the point? I mean, he even redrew the Belit face down there.
Oh,
So I don't know. It's got two half naked men wrestling though, so I'm in.
yeah, just the Kane covers is not my thing.
I've seen this ripped off slash homaged somewhere before. I don't know if Kane did it. You know what? I think it's a Jungle Action cover
Oh,
that has the same thing with T'Challa in Conan's place and some other villain, and they're on a log suspended over some spikes or something. I can see that cover in my head right now, looking at the same layout. So a little laziness from Mr. Sugar Lips Kane. That's what Stan Lee used to call him. Gil Sugar Lips Kane. What's your first show and tell book?
my first book is this is a book that was gifted to me by Dan Berger at the show. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #4, and it's an error variant, and I'm not sure. I have not looked up what makes it an error variant. I know I do not have this book. My copy of #4 is one of the oversized black and white books.
Yeah, is it a second print or a third print or something?
It says May 1987, so I have not opened it yet.
Hmm.
But yeah, this is interesting. I'm really looking forward to learning more about it, and it's definitely going to be a part of my collection because I'm a huge Turtles fan, especially Ertl's Mirage Turtles books. That's kind of the purest turtle before IDW came along and made them a little bit more complex.
Look at that. Yeah, I is it a wraparound cover? I'm sure it is. It looks like it is.
Well, let's
We're
see.
gonna see live. We'll do it live.
Let's do it live.
Oh, the wrinkly sound of that mylar. I love it.
Yeah, I love Mylar. Yep.
Oh,
Back
there
of
we go. Oh, look at those punk rockers. Those punk rockers will be the death of society if we let them.
but the art style of the Mirage books are just so it's I don't want to say amateurish, but it is definitely more comics with an X than and it's got beautiful black and white art in here.
Indies, 80s indies.
Yeah, I was looking to see if I could tell. Um, it says second printing of TMNT #4.
Oh, yeah, I figured.
Yeah, beautiful books in excellent condition. I thank you very very much. It will have an honored place in my collection.
Probably contemporaneous with that fifth print of issue
Yeah,
one.
for
About
one,
the same
right?
time. Conan the Barbarian number 65. Very dynamic Gil Kane cover. Boy, I need to replace that bag. It's wrinkly. But look, Bill Eats face, redrawn by John Romita once again. I guess Stan or someone didn't feel that he was drawing feminine enough faces.
I
But
would love to see the original, just to see a comparison between the original that didn't make Stan's muster and see what John had done for
Gil,
it.
not
No, John Romita did redraw
Oh,
it.
oh, gotcha. Yes, yes. What's funny about this is look at that pose. That should have been used in licensing or the corner box, right? That should have become the iconic Conan the Barbarian pose, coming at the reader, two swords.
Yeah,
But it wasn't just on this cover, and then off it went. Go figure. Conan, one of Marvel's best-selling books at this time in the
yeah.
70s. Weird to
I
think
read,
that.
yeah, I read King Conan the comic,
Yeah.
but I read Savage Sword the magazine. I
Yeah,
never really read Conan the
You
comic.
needed your boobies. I understand. Yeah. You got
Next one is another book gifted to us. This is Marvel Superheroes number 12, the last book in the original Secret Wars storyline. Well, it features Doctor Doom, obviously something that's right in my wheelhouse. I love the corner box too. It's crowded with people because Secret Wars has pretty much everybody in the Marvel universe as a part of it.
clip art cover box, corner box.
But this is foreshadowing the Secret Wars from 2015, where Doom is all powerful. So um, it's it's a great book. It's a great series. If you haven't read Secret Wars, the original Secret Wars, it's definitely worth reading because it's a piece of history. It's the first time you had that kind of gathering of superheroes from all around the different Marvel storylines, and had them interact and fight together. And it's a really cool series from that standpoint.
What do you think about Shooter's decision to show his face, Doom's face?
I think it's wrong. I don't think Doom should ever take his mask off. It's he was disfigured from an accident, and he wears his mask at all times because of that. I also think he wears his mask to kind of stay dispassionate from the rest of the world. So him taking it off and showing his human face, I think, is is wrong. He really should have that mask on at all times.
We should never see Doom's face. Peter
Yeah,
Parker should never be married.
right,
Bucky should never be alive.
right.
And Uncle Ben should stay dead. I think all of those things have been overturned except for Uncle Ben.
Yeah, Uncle Ben, rest in peace.
Oh, he'll come back as like the new Green Goblin eventually.
He'll be a herald of Galactus or something
No, he
stupid.
went revenge on Peter for letting him die because he let that burglar get away. God. Oh, see, if someone uses that, you pay me. All right. Conan the Barbarian, issue 132. Much later in the run than we've been talking about. Now we're in the Copper Age, but it's Gil Kane again, and he's inking himself. So here is pure, unfiltered Gil. Okay, you wanted to know what it looked like before everyone got a hold of it. See the
Yeah,
he wasn't big on different line weights. He kind of stuck to the same line weight on everything.
it's a
It,
lumpy looking eagle.
yeah, it's not an eagle. It's a giant birdie.
Okay, it's still very lumpy.
I just like that Conan's taking control of the eagle. Like, I'm just flying this sucker.
He's Conan.
Yeah. Look at that silky black hair.
Jealous.
No. It's a lot of work. All right. What is your last show and tell book?
My last one is a book that I'm surprised isn't more popular. It's West Coast Avengers #1.
Right?
Yeah,
Is, is it because it's not an ongoing concern anymore?
maybe maybe that's it. It's a great book. It's got heroes that are in the MCU. You got Hawkeye there. You got Wonder Man who's coming. He's coming to the MCU. You got Iron Man. You got great characters like Black Canary. So why
That's
does
not Black Canary.
sorry,
That's
God bless. I'm sorry. I,
you're crossing the streams, my friend.
yeah, I have DC on the mind for another reason. But you got all these great characters. Why doesn't this book hold more value than it does currently?
And why is Tigra on the team? I mean, oh, hey, got these great people. Tigra.
Tigra, yeah, that's a good question. But it's who knows? Who knows with Marvel? Marvel seems to be going in a different direction, so I doubt we'll ever see West Coast Avengers as a part of the MCU. But it's a great story, and if you haven't, you can pick them up for a really reasonable amount of money, and I would recommend you should do because it's a good read.
That Steve Englehart run, the beginning up to when Byrne takes over, is really a roller coaster. Just good old fashioned 70s era type comic. Al Milgram on art. So, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them all. Then you have West Coast Avengers. All
Nothing.
right. All right. Hey, just a reminder, if you are not a member yet, we would beseech you to consider it if it falls into your budgetary guidelines. How's that? for the cost of just $2.99 a month, less than a Starbucks. You can support the show, get a few perks, including live, exclusive member-only streams. We had a few of those at Comic Con, which will come up in viewer mail. Stay tuned. Extra show and tell episodes, which this week it'll be tomorrow for you members. Shout outs in future videos. There are some new members there. Hi, new members. And it helps Richard and I go to more shows to provide coverage. In fact, you guys paid for that fancy gimbal that provided you this smooth, silky footage that you had the last couple of weeks. Just hit join on YouTube. It's right down here next to the subscribe button. And if you're on the podcast and you want to support us, either see us at a show and shove a 20 in our face, or come over to YouTube and click join. And then we will transition to everybody's favorite segment, Viewer Mail.
You've got mail.
Oh, I'm doing a lot of talking today, Richard.
You
My
are.
first Viewer Mail comes to us from Mr. Ruff, who's catching up and saw the Jim Shooter interview from a while back. He says, love this interview. Jim Shooter is amazing and left an impactful, positive legacy. So many legendary runs from Miller, both Simonsons, Zach, Vicente, and JR. What a run. I would love it if you could finish Starbrand. Oh, you and me both. Somebody needs to invite him back just to do a Starbrand miniseries. I wish you guys had dug into why Shooter's budget was gutted for the new universe. Other than that, I loved this. Well, thank you, Mr. Ruff. You don't happen to be McGruff, the crime dog, do you? Shooter's budget. I can tell you, we didn't ask him, but I can tell you the reason why. They were getting ready to sell Marvel to New World, and they wanted to make the bottom line look really robust. And so taking $100,000 that you were going to spend over here for this new untested line in development didn't make sense when you're trying to get your OIBDA to be super positive. So that's why his budget got decimated. But maybe we'll have Mr. Shooter back and dig into some more behind the scenes stuff. Richard, your first piece of viewer mail, please.
My first piece is from a gentleman, given looking at his name, is probably of our generation. Collect, play, and enjoy 2800.
Not 2600?
That's, yeah, not 2600. Thank you very much for your description of the San Diego Comic-Con. For those of us who do not pay to be members, it would have been nice to have seen some of the floor and have walked around with your cameras. I very much enjoy seeing the comic book booth from people like yourselves who have the benefit of attending these larger shows. The most enticed booth at San Diego must be that Heritage Auction booth. In years past, they have had epic books displayed. I can only imagine what they had this year. Either way, thank you for the little bit that you did. It was very valuable. Collect and play. You're right. You're right. We should do more of the walkarounds and share them with people because they're
let me cut you off.
okay.
You and Collect and Play need to go to the channel and you'll see that I made all the members only videos from Comic-Con live for everyone to enjoy. Ha!
Oh, snap. All right. John hooked you up.
Check and make Collect and Play.
Heritage did have a Heritage booth is a very unique place at any comic show they attend because you recognize it because they have this gigantic safe in the corner, this big gray metal thing that at night they put all the comics in, lock that thing up, and it weighs probably as much as a minivan. I'd love to see them actually get it there on the show floor. And then when during the day they have all their comics out in glass cases because most of the books are 5, sometimes 6-figure books. So they have the books in the display along with the estimated auction value of what that book is going to go for, and it's a sight to behold because there are a lot of rare books there. I think that's something that we need to take more pictures of as we are going through. Unfortunately, John and I have been a little jaded about it because they're at every convention, major convention, and they have pretty much the same layout. So to us, the only real difference is going to be what books they have available in for display. But it would be nice to kind of take pictures of those, and so we'll strive to include more shots of Heritage's booth. Other booths that are really good are Metropolis. They have a number of expensive books there. So if you're looking for high priced books that cost as much as a house, we'll be definitely help. Yeah, we'll help you out and show them to you in future shows.
I'm going to make your day even better, Collect and Play and Richard. To go on to our YouTube channel and click on videos and scroll back a couple weeks, you'll see the Heritage booth in one of those live streams that I've made public for everyone to look. There is a big section where I go through all the Heritage stuff. I show you the original art that's on display. I show you the major keys that are in there. Your wish is my command, Collect and Play.
Wow. Wow. John's really hooked you up. I hope you got to take a chance and take a little look at the videos. Yeah. They're interesting. Like I said, they're interesting boosts. They're comics I would never pay for or could never afford to pay for, and stay married. Um, Definitely good books.
All right, I'm going to move on to our email. And this came to our email at bronzeandmoderngods@gmail.com from our buddy in, I believe, the Netherlands or Amsterdam. That same thing, right? Rim Adervane. I'm going to edit it to the important part. In the early 2000s, while looking for four color goodness other than my staple diet of back then Marvel and DC, I found several Atlas comics from the 70s. One of them was Tiger Man #1. I looked it up in my Overstreet and was kind of amazed when I read that the cover was mentioned as being done by Colin. Amazed because I thought I knew Gene Colan's style well enough to be able to recognize his work just by looking at it, and this cover looked nothing like that. On closer inspection of the cover, I found the name of the artist, Ernie Colon. Considering this is an accidental typo, I thought nothing of it and left it at that. However, year upon year, that typo has remained in the guide, and every year it started to bug me more. So when I saw it again last year, I finally decided enough was enough. And now I contacted the publisher, wrote what I found about Tiger Man #1, and another typo about Speedball being in Spider-Man Annual 12 instead of 22,
Mhm.
and received a very polite response thanking me for my input and a promise to look into the matter. This year, immediately after buying the new Overstreet and taking out of its shrink wrap, I looked for the erroneous entries, and lo and behold, both my suggested corrections have been implemented.
Right.
I know that in the grand scheme of things, this is nothing earth shattering, but let me tell you, I was tickled pink and not a little proud of this accomplishment. Just goes to show that we can all contribute to this fantastically fun hobby of ours. Yes, Rim, the Overstreet is full of stuff like that, and it needs a major AI edit. And in lieu of that, thank you for helping get this big Bible corrected. Richard, what's the last Overstreet you bought?
Oh my goodness. I was just going to ask you about Overstreets. The last one I bought was probably in the 90s.
It's like Playboy for me.
Oh,
I buy it for the articles.
yes. They
I
have
don't
their
really interested in the pictures or the price. I read it for the articles.
they have their Overstreet advisors, and they typically write an article for the Overstreet that gets that's a part of it. I would read the articles, but the problem with that, I think there's more current information online, and that's the whole problem with these hard copies is that they are a snapshot in time. Um, but I'm curious how many people in the audience actually do buy Overstreet still. Uh,
Well, let me tell you, it's not just the dealer perspectives. There's articles about great westerns of the 50s. Really deep dives or like crime comics featuring women on the cover. There's like big chunky articles like that make it worthwhile.
yeah, I
I stunned them.
I should buy it just because it's an alternative source of information. Um, I wish it was more curated, and thank you to people like Rem here who have contributed to making it a better source of information. But I'm a computer nerd, so I have my information sources online, and that typically between GPA and places like Go Collect and CGC's forums, that gives me the kind of information that I need that's more timely.
Yeah, there's a little deeper dive for super uber nerds, I guess. What is your next piece of viewer mail?
My next piece is from Agent Mobius 8458. Okay, I agree with Richard 100%. That's all I really need to read. The CBCS labels are now the most attractive and smart slab labels. Yeah, I've taken a about face on this. Originally, when the new slabs came out, um, I wasn't a big fan, but now I've had a chance to absorb the labels, and we haven't really seen an improvement from CGC, or the upcoming PSA labels are quite bland.
Yes.
CBC, yeah, CBCS has definitely the best looking labels, and the information is presented in a really nice way. The the cases themselves are very solid. I feel they flex less than the CB or CGC cases. So yeah, I think qualitatively the CBCS cases and labels are an improvement over CGC. CGC still has the name recognition that CBCS doesn't have, and neither does PSA. So I don't think we'll see any significant difference in the balance of power, but I do think that they're the better choice.
I will say this though, CBCS needs to improve the annotation of restored books. The fact that it looks just like a universal
Yeah,
label. You
that's a
got to look with a microscope almost to see that it's restored. I don't like that.
yeah,
But what are you going to do at this point?
it's a very good point. I mean, the purple label, the CGC does differentiate between universal and signature and restored and conserved very clearly, and it's not hard to pick those out from a distance.
Right. My next piece of viewer mail is from John Hyde. Hi, Richard and John. Longtime member, 7 months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who learned to clean and press watching John wrestle a Strange Tales into submission. After approximately 500 books cleaned, pressed, whitened, and submitted to CGC, I received a surprise when 2 books came back with the blue label conserved.
Mm,
Grader notes only cited cover cleaned regarding conservation. This was a 40-book submission, all of which were clean pressed and bled whitened. That stands for blue LED, by the way.
mhm.
Why did 2 get singled out? The 2 were the oldest books, 1945 and 1963, and had cream colored pages. I think too much color contrast between the cover and interior is triggering CGC. I've always avoided the bright white finish, preferring a more natural look, but clearly I will need to moderate the whitening on older books. Love the show, John Hyde. John, you answered your own question. You're absolutely right. That's why you got caught. If you've got cream pages, they're going to look for it, especially if you're doing the inside covers.
Mhm.
Yeah, you got to be real careful.
Yeah,
Uh, Outer cover, 3 hours max on something like that. Max.
yeah. If you got cream pages, they're probably going to be looking for patina.
Great shot. Take a shot. If you want to really, go page by page and blue LED each page, you can do that as well. It's just a lot of work for one book.
Really, that will work against the newsprint.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's if you want to do it. Now, you get too white, it ain't right. So be careful. Hey, you can steal that from me too. Anyway. All right. What is your last piece of your mail?
My last piece is from the Enter the Dreaming on YouTube.
Sandman fan.
The problem with PSA is that they will grade counterfeit cards with a legitimate signature. They
Ooh.
should refuse to slab a counterfeit card. So they are starting on the wrong foot already. That's good to know.
Do we
Um,
know that for a fact? We don't know that. This is from a viewer mail. Don't
this
sue
is
it.
true. This is true. It's this allegedly, let's say. But if this is a practice where they're actually grading the signature and not the actual uh, card, or in the case of comic books, that's a bit troubling. I
CGC will grade a counterfeit Cerebus.
Yes, they will, but they'll label it as counterfeit on the label. Uh,
Enter the Dreaming or PSA labeling these cards as counterfeit when they grade them?
Good question.
You know? This I don't know enough about PSA or cards and grading in general. Huge blind spot, like I got a big glaucoma blob right here over my eye when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not an expert in it either. I think we're going to have some scrutiny on PSA when they start doing comic books. Just due diligence to make sure that they are marking things that are counterfeit as such or refusing to grade them. I think would be a choice as well. But like you say, I've got a counterfeit Cerebus on the wall over here that I could send to CGC, and they would grade it, and it would get a blue label, but it would say counterfeit right there on the label.
Let me say this: do they still grade counterfeit Cerebuses? I know they have, and so I don't know if they still do. And didn't they grade counterfeit turtles as well? Turtles number one, or have they always rejected those? You
I,
guys tell them.
yeah, that's a good question. Also, what was another one that was big? Gobbledygook.
Ah,
That was another one that was
mm,
easy to counterfeit because it was black and white photostat. So, good question. I should send. I have a Cerebus number one counterfeit. I bought it and I knew it was counterfeit at the time. Um, I should send it in just to see what happens.
all right. I don't have a clever segue because I am tired from traveling. So here is the 25-year rule. Whee! Sorry, Dean TV. Inside joke. And that, by the way, we did not do that in the Bronze and Honor Gods drinking game. Bad segue. Take a shot.
Oh boy,
Bad
they would be
for
drunk.
sure. Richard, I picked this for you. We're going back to 1999, 25-year rule. If you're new to the show, this is the segment where we go back to where 25 years where the nostalgia kicks in after basically you were a kid in 1999 or you were collecting then, and 25 years later, you want to regain that nostalgia. It's the 25-year rule. Fathom number 0 from Image Comics. Does she have scoliosis? What's going on here? Her
That's
back.
yeah. She definitely has a strange curve going on
This
there.
is from the late great Michael Turner. Michael Turner, hugely popular artist, meteoric rise, very popular, drawing those women there like Dave Stevens, Bruce Timm, all those other contemporaries. This issue only features a 12-page story inside.
Huh.
Richard, have you ever checked out Fathom? Is this something that was ever on your radar? I think you were out at this point.
I was out. I've seen different issues. I may even have one or two in my collection, but never anything that I read.
Were you into Michael Turner at all as an artist?
No, no. I can recognize his work because
Mhm.
it's pretty distinctive, but it was never something that I sought out.
Michael Turner's estate, Aspen, still very much a presence, at least here in Southern California. They have a booth in all the major conventions, and they sell, lithographs, I guess, and things with his art all over it. For Fathom Zero, prices range from $2.50 to $8 on eBay. Lots of cheesecake. I'm surprised he is, well, maybe I'm not as informed. Is Michael Turner still an ongoing concern for collectors of good girl art? You guys let us know in the comments as we pivot to our underrated books of the week. Richard, you have a knack for picking major keys as underrated.
I do. I do. This week, my pick is Showcase number 22, DC from 1959. This is the first appearance of the Silver Age Green Lantern.
Has anybody heard of this book? It's very underrated.
The reason I picked this is I don't remember this book being as affordable as it is now in the past.
Mhm.
It has a slow climb, looking at GPA prices, but over the last year and a half, though, it's been going down, and it's going down dramatically here recently. I think now's the time to buy if you're looking for this book. If you're a Green Lantern fan and you want the first Hal Jordan, now is a good time to go shopping for it because I think there are a number of really affordable examples on the market. Um, for example, the last CGC sale for a 3.5 it was $2,800. Now, $2,800 isn't nothing, but again, I can't remember this book being that affordable in the past. This is one of those books that has always been just outside of my comfort zone for what I was willing to pay for it. So I've always had a pass on it. The last CGC 1.0 sale was for $1,300. $1,300 is for a major key, a major first appearance. Now, I consider the Green Lantern, specifically Hal Jordan, and the Green Lantern Corps as one of the strongest and most underutilized IP that DC has, outside of the Holy Trinity. So this is an opportunity to get a great Silver Age book that I think is such an important key for a reasonable amount of money. The market is currently soft. These kinds of keys, if you're ever in the market for key books, now is a good time to put an offer in, because I have a feeling that a lot of people who have books for sale are willing to deal to be able to reduce the price to make the sale. So definitely a good time to be a buyer and pick out these keys. As opposed to picking out modern books, I recommend going after these big keys.
Let's not forget this. You have, is it really from 1959?
Yep, September of 1959.
Before the Fantastic Four, before Iron Man, before the Amazing Spider-Man, before the Mighty Thor, here is the Green Lantern. And we saw, I think it was, what was it at the Heritage booth, Richard, a 7.0, and they estimated it was going to go for $8,000 at auction.
Yeah.
And I looked at you and I said, is that a typo? It's very low for such a major key that predates all the Marvel keys. And DC, is that a signal? Is that telling us something?
Yeah, DC's always trailed in value for Marvel, and I think that's something people take advantage of.
Save us, James Gunn. You're our only hope. All right, members, you're going to see a rerun here. I think I featured this on a members only episode in Show and Tell. This is my underrated book of the week. I have not featured it as an underrated book, though. It is Snafu #1. What, John? Huh? What are you saying? What is a snafu #1? Why, this would be Stan Lee and Martin Goodman's answer to getting some of that sweet, sweet Mad Magazine money back in 1955. It is a humor satire title, and it is packed with art from Joe Maneely, John Severin, Russ Heath. Issue 2s and 3 have Bill Everett art in here as well. That's not why it's notable. It's notable for one thing for you Marvel fans. See that guy right there, the nerdy guy with the glasses? See his name? Irving Forbush. Irving Forbush. First appearance of mention of Irving Forbush, Marvel's unofficial mascot through most of the 1960s and 1970s. Snafu. Low-grade copies of this sell for about $50 on eBay. This is a pretty high-grade copy I got locally from someone here. Really no CGC sales data or for higher grade sales recently, so I have no idea what this is worth. I don't know if I'd ever want to sell it. I love this book. And I also have to wonder, has this book's time passed? Does anyone know who Irving Forbush is anymore?
I think you have to be a person of a certain age to appreciate it, to be honest with you.
Heavy sigh, heavy sigh. So, snafu #1. If you happen to see it and you don't know why it's sticking in your head, and you remember, I remember John at Bronze of Modern God said I should buy this for some reason. Just come back to this episode and refresh your memory.
Yeah, speaking of that, Mad Magazine is also, I think, a book of a certain generation. If there's anybody under the age of 30 who knows what Mad Magazine is, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear what your experiences are.
They'll know Mad TV, but I don't know if they'll know Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
It was a magazine. Ooh, what's a magazine? I mean, is it printed? Is it stapled? What is that?
Yeah, it's a printed out website.
That's what it is. Got it. Hey, reminder, members, you'll have a bonus episode tomorrow. No live stream this week, and then we are back on the hamster wheel again this Monday coming up. So everybody have a great week. Catch you then.
Yep. Everybody stay safe.